family of mental illness. I have an uncle and a cousin with mental illness. But unlike a lot of people who are diagnosed with mental illness in their early teens or their 20s, I was not diagnosed with mental illness until I was in my early 30s. I was working at a job in Washington, D.C., and for about a year before my diagnosis, I was having thoughts of paranoia and suspicion in my workplace, and I was let go as a result of that. And so in the fall of 1996, I was hospitalized for that 72-hour hold, and I was diagnosed with depression with psychotic features. And then a year later, so I was given that diagnosis and given medication, and I was getting treatment actually through Prince George's County Hospital, a psychiatrist there. And I did well for about a year, and I got a new job, and like many times what happens when a person with mental illness is feeling well, and I was working, and no symptom presentation, I stopped taking my medication. And that was a very bad mistake because I had a psychotic break in the fall of 1997 that left me unconscious on the side of a road in Greenville. And my family was living in New York at the time, and I was living here by myself. And so somebody found me on the side of the road. I don't know if it was a good Samaritan, someone jogging through the neighborhood, or a police officer or what, but they found me and took me to Doctors Community Hospital. And my diagnosis was updated to paranoid schizophrenia. And so then I recovered with family from like 1998 to 2001, came back to the Maryland area, and I didn't really get steady, ongoing, formal treatment until about 2003. And that's where I met my current psychiatrist, my current therapist. And now I'm working full-time as a writer at the newspaper at Fort Meade Army Post. And I've been working there for about 13 years. And I've been compliant on my medication since then, so I haven't had a relapse in 13 years. And so I'm doing well. And I was just wanting to speak very briefly about my recovery. What I've learned about recovery is that, I appreciate your applause, because someone who has a mental illness, to be compliant on their medication for 13 years and to be working full-time for 13 years, that
to be commended.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it is.
That is recovery.
Yes.
But what I have learned recently in the past couple of weeks, at least for myself, is that there are foundational blocks of recovery, like getting your medication, getting treatment, hopefully doing something productive with your life, part-time work, full-time work, volunteer work, and having housing, But once those foundational blocks of recovery are sort of in place, I'm finding for myself that I'm on a new level of recovery, which has to do with my emotional and spiritual growth as a person. And so now in my recovery, I'm really focused on my spiritual growth as a person, as a woman. I've always, had a belief in God. I have to have a belief in God. If it was not for God, something would have happened to me in 1997 and I wouldn't be here. But I'm finding that I'm taking my recovery to a different level. I'm focusing on a personal relationship with God and Jesus, because that's my belief. And I feel that that's central to my growth and development and my recovery. Now, and in my therapy, I'm really working on my emotional growth and development as a woman. Finding the next level of having healthy relationships and better managing the stresses of my life. So what I wanted to say to someone who has a mental illness is that it often seems like a struggle just to get those foundational blocks in line. You know, okay, I have to take my medication, see my therapist, and see my psychiatrist, and hopefully I have a good place to live where I'm safe, and then finding some way to support myself and making sure I have medical treatment. But like when all of those things are in line, there's a next level that I think is worth your while to try to pursue. And so I want to encourage everyone that, recovery is a lifelong process. And that's what I'm discovering. Even though I've been compliant for 13 years, I'm always at a risk of relapsing, It's like it's an ongoing struggle. There are things that I have to do on an everyday basis now that I find emotionally and spiritually. I need that prayer time in the morning, and I need my yoga class, and I need my meditation class, because, I'm still fragile, even though I've been compliant for 13 years. So I just wanted to give hope to everyone that if you can see me and see that it is possible to have those foundational blocks in line, but don't be afraid to take the next step, of recovery, your spiritual life, your emotional life, and that's what makes you whole, and that is a lifelong journey, and that's all I want to say.
Addict or something, but I do have substance abuse problems, and I'm facing them every day, and I'm trying to keep coming back after meetings with the AA in my mind as I go through the meetings. I still don't trust myself openly, but I'm not suicidal. But I'm able to stop with a companion and maybe finish up with a companion, but I'm not sure I'll be testing them. How are you?
I'm very autistic about mental illness, and I am very honored to think about mental illness. I wanted to know about my mental illness. That's why I came up here on a different note. Like I wasn't sure about nothing until I came here, and Miss Shayla, she helped me, and Miss Brown, and Miss Anita, she helped me, and she helped me, and all the person helped me in the Fellowship of America, because I was from the South. I didn't know nothing. I just came on a basic note. I came to let Washington D.C. my home, and I'm gonna go to my hometown just to visit because I like it. And it was a challenge for me. It was a challenge for me, and it's an ongoing experience. That's all I have to say.
How do you guys overcome stigma associated with mental illness?
Well, for me, I ignore it. I ignore stigma because I know I'm a known person, although I have a mental illness. And I can achieve on a high level just like anybody else.
Well, basically, I come up with, I do daily tasks that help my life individually, and I'm more or less concerned individually with myself. I can quit all the parties and stuff if I want to, but I gotta come down from, I can socialize with almost anybody in this world. That's about it. I like to live myself.
Well, it's up to me. Well, what I want to do is what I want to do. But it's all up to you. It's not up to the individual. It's not up to another person. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. I came up here I came here, I was scared. I was very scared because I thought about the environment in the city, and it's nice now, and it's a challenge for me, and I gave my daughter. I got in touch with my daughter, which I couldn't get in touch with my daughter in the South because they kept me from my daughter. And I keep in touch with all my family now. And I was against all my family and stuff. It was schizophrenia. It was just devastating. And I was trying to commit suicide because I didn't have nobody to turn to. You know, it was just devastating. That's all I got to say.
Wonderful. The last thing, how can people help overcome the stigma associated with mental illness? How can people help you guys?
How can it help us overcome
The stigma.
Well, I would say one, to be supportive of any positive action I would take to help myself.
I basically come up with education. See, I got, 40 college credits out of George Mason. And I try to apply it to mental health, it don't work. If I apply it to, maybe I need some more help in that, like with Miss that you said. I'm sure of that, but I don't like it though. I like to do things on my own as though I'm ready, you know. So I'm getting her to, you know, whatever type of just mystic ideas I have, you know, I'll share with her. And she'll teach me how to say all of it.
First of all, you got to help yourself. Okay? It's gonna be hard, but you got to help yourself. It's just going on with your life. And think positive. Don't think negative. Don't think negative about nothing. Because negative ain't gonna get you nowhere. And I was going by things negative while I was in my hometown. Because it was a negative experiment what I was going through. And it was devastating. I was put in jail for another things about. I was put in jail because I don't understand things. It was so mad. Just I could not deal with it. Could not deal with I could not deal with the atmosphere of it. And so that's what my feeling is.
Right. Thank you guys so much.
And I'm a schizophrenia patient at Volunteers of America. After being told I was an addict, I was offended in my mind because I only saw myself as a drug user. But I understand drugs can be addictive if used for a long period of time. I won't call myself or classify myself as an addict, but I will always remember some things are addictive. Hello, I'm an addict who is in recovery. My story is called Rehab and I. My addiction started at age 11. My choice of drugs was marijuana, PCP, beer, wine, and angel dust. I entered rehab in 1984 at DC General Detox. I learned the 5 don't rules. Don't drink, don't drug, don't beg, don't borrow, and don't take no freebies. When rehab was over, I hit the streets again, using drugs and partying. I attended some NA and AA meetings for the first time. I learned how to socialize without drugs and alcohol, and I needed to change my people, places, and things. In July 1993, I was in a street fight, and I went to jail for 7 months. Boy, this was my rock bottom time. Now I'm drug-free 7 months. I learned to isolate myself to avoid trouble with others and to eat only the fruit juice and sandwiches at the jailhouse. In July 16, 1994 is my anniversary day. I had 22 years clean time and no relapses. I've been hospitalized on 3 occasions. I learned to take my medication as prescribed, cooperate in group, and follow the rules. I am a patient at Volunteers of America. My classes are stress management, anger management, resilience, and conflict management. I learned tools like just say no, walk away, can we talk about it, and let's read a book. My message today is to tell crack to get back.
All right. All right. Yay! All right.
And when I hit it at that point, their whole attitude changed, but they still kind of stayed away from me. So even though the person, the consumer is the one that's going through the actual illness, the family member is still going through sometimes some isolation, misunderstanding, because they don't feel like you're handling it the way you should be handled, but yet still they're not there to be a support. So we dealt with that. One thing I do remember and appreciate, and unfortunately the one that my husband was in PG County, and it closed down, but before it did, they had us come together, and they had all the consumers standing with a piece of paper behind all the family members, and they had all of them at the same time when they said go. Let me go back a little bit. We had papers in front of us, and we were to write down whatever we heard. Well, in doing so, having them all speak together, which means what? You really don't know what you're hearing. Some of them wrote something, some had nothing on their paper, some just drew pictures, some had sound words in some places, and some just scribbled. And that was their way of showing us what those that were schizophrenic were going through as far as hearing voices, and how we responded to that was the way some of them was responding. Either they didn't do anything, or they was just confused. So it gave me a different attitude and appreciation of knowing what they deal with when they're going through with the hearing the voices and things. I also had to, one of the questions on my paper was, how do you not get burned out? And I had to make it up in my decision, just not to get burned out. If it meant taking a day, going away, doing something for myself, as I said, not always having family members that you could talk to because they were afraid to come around, not knowing what to expect, but they were not willing to sit down or get educated to know how to help deal with the individual. I do, and I stress this continuously to anyone that I talk to that deal with a family member or a friend that has that's going through a mental issue. Remember, they still have a personality. They still have feelings, okay? We can't discount that. All of a sudden, all we see, we get a tunnel vision. So we only see the mental illness, but we don't want to deal with the individual as a person. And that was one of the things that I had to go through with and dealing with, going through it with my husband. Because he didn't talk all the time. He's a quiet person, but he held everything in. I did have to get several EPs to get him, and I got very frustrated. If you put him in there for 3 days and then come back home, and we're going through the same cycle all over again. I was very disappointed. A couple of times I took him to the hospital, and because he wouldn't get out of the car, there still was nothing they could do. They said until he gets across that door sill, we can't do anything. So then, you know, I felt like I was just out there, just lost, you know. As I said, I really appreciate Arnetta because she walked me through a lot of things in going through it. I go to the meetings and all, but he wasn't at a point where he was ready for recovery. And because of that, it made it even harder. You know, he would take his meds for a while, then he'd get off of them, and unfortunately he got involved with old friends and he started drinking, so that made it even worse. So it became a lot to deal with. When I went out in 2007 with stage 3 ovarian cancer, he basically had no one to really work with him, so he ended up being homeless for a while. So he's now at the VA. I still try to keep as much of the support as I can, but like they said, with that tough love, that make them, and you have to make it up in your mind that you want to recover, that you want to live a better life. There's not anything else that I can do. I had to just get to that point. Now he's at that point where he realized I got to do better. I've lost out. You know, I missed out on my daughter growing up and all these things. You know, so I encourage any of you all that have a loved one that is going through. Remember, you still have a life. You still have to take care of yourself. You know, you still got to know when to step back and that to realize that they have a responsibility in going through this.
I just really wanted to put a plug in for NAMI again. I think a lot of times people feel like they have to recreate the wheel. And NAMI has just about everything. You know, they have a lot of different services. And if you're a family member or a friend, you have questions, don't, you know, reach out to them. Because they have consumers, they have family members, they can tell you, you know, help you navigate the course, they can give you advice, they can have the training. It's not just giving the pamphlets, the training, but it's having somebody to talk to. So I think that NAMI is really so important. National Alliance for Mental Illness is so important. And also, I just would add, if you're a family member and you have a loved one who's dealing with a chronic illness, whether it's mental illness, is make sure you get them connected to an agency. One of the things I always ask family members, I would say, if you died or dropped dead today, who would take care of your loved one? Because a lot of times you feel like you're the one that has to do everything, right? And you forget that you're human. What would happen to you if you were to drop dead? Are there things that your loved one would need to know how to do that they don't know how to do now? Getting them connected to an agency can not only give you support, but also, well, number one, to make sure that your loved one gets support. So I think as a family member, you can't do it alone. You don't have to be in isolation. There are a lot of people, many people, who know what it's like to have people feel like people are talking about you. You know, the police come to the house, and you know, it's a big commotion, and then, you know, you peek outside and people looking and wondering, well, what's going on in her place? What's going on? And that can be a shame, that can be an embarrassment. But there are a lot of people who have been through that. You don't have to feel that way. You're not alone. You don't have to, you know, be in a secret. Okay, mental illness, we can be out of the closet now with kind of what's going on. Mental illness, we can talk about it just like we talk about high blood pressure, we talk about diabetes, we talk about any other disease. So kind of remember that mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of. There is help out there. Are there any questions for Ms. Kelly? I think, did you have did she have any questions for her? All right. Any more questions for her? The next panel we're going to talk about, we talked about the untreated mental illness. We're going to talk about what are some of the, this is our last panel, we're going to talk about what's the impact of untreated mental illness. We're going to look at men and mental illness. We're going to look at the faith-based community, a wide variety of things as we prepare to kind of close out. Because when we talk about the impact of untreated mental illness, I'll just have a few here. Disruption in work history, disruption in family life, negative feelings, stigma, loss of productivity, homelessness, loss of hope, increased stress, helplessness, grief, fear, worry, anger, resentment. And for me, the biggest thing is the loss of potential. For every second, every minute, every hour, someone who is living with the impact of a mental illness doesn't get help either for themselves or for their loved one, that's time lost. That's lost potential. Because again, I always like to point out, having a mental illness doesn't mean the person is illiterate or it doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. So we want to kind of keep that in mind. So I'll let Ms. Brown